Oh yeah, by the way, if you are in edit mode, I forgot to mention, you see this dot here. This dot right here is the origin of your object. If you right click, it's showing you set origin, origin to geometry, origin to 3D cursor and whatnot. What does it do? If you rotate the whole object, we're going to rotate it from this point. As you can see, everything is rotated. This is stationary, this point. But if we right click and set origin to 3D cursor, so this point, and now if we rotate it, it's rotating around this point. And why is it important? If you go into edit mode and you move everything by pressing A to select everything, A is everything, you select it. And if you move it up here, the origin point stays where it is. So if you move it, I would recommend moving stuff up and down, just scaling and extruding, inserting. Then you might wonder, why does it rotate around this point and not around the center of the object? There's an easy fix for that. If you made this mistake, you go to the object, right click, set origin to geometry. It calculates basically where's the mass and stuff like that anyway. It puts the origin back to where it should belong. Quick rundown. I forgot to press record. I'm gonna go over everything I just talked about, but forgot to record. You have this object here, and if you press Shift D to duplicate it, then what you can see on top here, you will increase the number of vertices and edges and faces. It's not really good because, like I said before, the more vertices, the more computation power your laptop needs or your computer. And we don't want that. For example, you want a scene that has grass in it and you have a bunch of grass. You wouldn't just duplicate it by Shift-D'ing it, so it will double or triple or whatever the amount of vertices you have. There's another way around. You press Alt-D. You have the duplicate of the cube, and as you can see, the vertices and the edges, they don't increase because you take all the information that was from the original cube and you kind of apply it to the other cubes. One downside to this is if you edit one of these, inset, extrude, you will kind of edit every object. If you want to avoid that, if you want to make a variation of the shape you just had, you Shift D, and in edit mode you do whatever you want, and there you have a variation of the first one with the cost of having more vertices in your scene. If you want to rotate everything around the point, you press this dot here, and then you can select where it's going to move around. You have the bounding box center. Let's say you have these two objects. You select this object, then Blender will put a box around it to fit everything inside, theoretically. Take the center point and move it around this point. Then you have the median point around your object itself. You have the 3D cursor. If you want to move it, just move it around this. But if you have everything and you want to move it, you can of course move it around the 3D cursor right here. Or you can move it individually, looking at these dots here, the origins of each of those objects, and we can rotate them. If you want to make it more interesting, you go up here to Object, Transform, and then Randomize Transform. Then down here you will have a menu, and you can just rotate everything. So I'm rotating the X right now, and then as you can see, not everything is moving in the same direction. We can transform it, we can move it away, so you don't have to manually randomize where your objects are. And this could be a scene where things are falling down on the ground. In the outline you see it can get messy real quick with the objects. What you want to do in the beginning, press F2 if you have an object and name it to, I don't know, bolt. And if you want to put everything else other than the bolt into a collection, you press Ctrl I, press M to have a new collection. As you can see, I already created one called Cube Duplicates. you press New Collection, give it a name. And everything is now in Give It a Name. We can use the I button here to deactivate it from the viewport. And what's the difference? Let me just move the camera. I will show you better ways how to move the camera and manipulate the camera later on. But let's just do it like that. Move this around. Nope. Move it up. Okay. This is the most awful camera setting ever. Anyway, if we press F12 to render, we see it's dark for now. Let's put in a light real quick. Lights are here. Point light. Press F12 to render. It's too dark. Let's add a sunlight then. 12. Okay, we have all the objects here. Good. If we go into the collection here and press the hide in viewport, you don't see all the bolts or cubes there. Press F12, but in the render they're still visible. That's where this button comes in handy. This will hide everything what is being rendered. So this is gone. If you have something in here visible, press F12 but not in your render, then it's because you didn't activate this part. Most of the time you don't see anything in your render. It's because one of these are not turned on. Yeah, just put everything in collections, name them from the beginning, look at where they are, move stuff around, play with Shift-D'ing everything, or Alt-D to duplicate everything. This statistic, it's not important, but if you want it, you can go up here and activate statistics to see if you're really Alt-D or Shift-D duplicating stuff. And from there on, just go into vertex mode, edge mode, face mode, insert, extrude, play around with it, and just get comfortable, move around, go into object mode, go into edit mode, look at what you can manipulate, just play around with it, because the more you not play but work, the better you will get, the more the shortcuts will get into your brain. That was it for this one. Thumbs up, subscribe, see you in the next one.